Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons and Conference, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about video games, right? Now I've not played any video games for about a year and a half, right? The last video games I played was the Mass Effect games. I've only got PlayStation, so I didn't have Mass Effect 1, which is only on the Xbox, so I played Mass Effect 2, really good game, love it, and then I played a bit of Mass Effect 3. And I was playing it, I got to 2 missions before the last mission, right? Getting really excited for the end, because I actually quite like the end of Mass Effect 3. But what ended up happening was I was about to turn my computer off, so I turned the computer off, and then I turn around to pick something up, I can't remember what, and then I just hear this big smash, and I turn around, the TV's on the floor. I'm like, what? So I picked the TV up, and I put it on the, put it back. Big crack down the middle. I'm just sort of thinking, hopefully it's kind of like how my phone is cracked. I don't know if you can see that, right? But it's cracked, so I thought maybe I'll just have to look past the cracks, that'll be okay. No, it completely messed with whatever makes the pixels inside. It just gave me a load of glitched out red and black, so that didn't really work. So I've not played a video game since then. I do technically have Steam. I've got a couple things on Steam, but I've not looked at Steam for about 5 years. And the reason I've not done any of this, and the reason I'm making this video, is because I'm annoyed at video games for how fucking long they are. They're so long. Have you ever played Oblivion? Elder Scrolls? Jesus Christ, it never fucking ends. So you go to the Citadel, like Imperial City, whatever, right? So you join the Thieves Guild, you get all the way to the top of the fucking Thieves Guild, that takes about 15 hours on its own. Then you got to do the Fighters Guild, then you got to do the Mages Guild. There's another there's the Dark Brotherhood, Assassins and all that, right? There's so many. And then there's all the little side quests, there's the arena you got to get all the way to the top of, there's the main quest you got to do, there's random bullshit you got to do for random fucking jack-offs that don't amount to anything. I'm walking around this gorgeous fucking vista of fantasy and whimsy, just doing grunt work for random fucking NPCs, right? When I do that in real life anyway, that's a job, right? I'm basically going to my manager being like, have you got anything for me? Yeah, go clean the fucking gutters. That's basically what this is, right? But with video games. And I'm doing this for free. I'm paying for the privilege of doing free work, right? And to me, I just don't quite see the point in that. So I've jacked it in with those kind of video games, and MMORPGs, they're another one. They're even worse, where at least Oblivion pretends to have some semblance of a story. But, you know, it just frustrates me that you've got that, right? I much prefer your narrative-driven sort of things. Like one of the last games I played before Mass Effect was Spec Ops: The Line. Now that is a game that I think it works structurally in how a game should be made in terms of a structure. It was about 6 hours long, right? I played it in a weekend, and it wasn't like I did nothing but play Spec Ops: The Line. I probably sat down for maybe a couple hours a day, and then I played it in the evenings, went to work, came back, played a bit of Spec Ops: The Line, went to bed, had some dinner, whatever, and then got that kind of thing, right? And it was a nice, enjoyable little time, right? With a beautiful fall into madness and a commentary on the nature of war and man's violence towards other man and this kind of thing. That's what I feel like video games should be working towards, rather than these kind of content farms of just endlessly grinding your way up to the highest fucking level, which just basically means you're the same as the bottom level, but the blue sparks are now fucking purple, and you've got giant ears coming out your fucking head when before you had normal sized ears, or you've got silver armor rather than just like leather armor or whatever. It's this kind of thing, where it's just these small material changes in what the pixels look like that's meant to give you some kind of satisfaction. And I'm not saying this to minimize other people's enjoyment of video games. I personally don't get that enjoyment from them anymore, but I'm not out here to try and minimize other people's enjoyment of them or try and tell you that you should stop playing video games because they're a waste of time or whatever, right? If that's the conclusion you take from this, then I would encourage you to apply it to your own life, because clearly you're on the path towards sort of changing and developing away from video games and more towards whatever it is that will come in your future, right? But think about this. The average film is about 2 hours long, right? The average TV show, one series of a TV show, call it 4 to 6 hours, right? Say there's like 5 series of a TV show, it's about bog standard, that's about 30 hours, right? The average book maybe takes about 20 hours to read, right? The average video game takes about fucking 100 hours to play. right? And that's just the basics. That's not counting if you want to do 100% or whatever, which, to be fair, you have to be really into it to try and do that. I've only done it on a couple games. And I feel like something that video games are really good at is, one, storytelling capabilities, because it's kind of got the advantages that reading a book has over a film, in that you've got this immersiveness to it, and you're immersed in the character and the story and the atmosphere. Same way with a book, because it feels like you are that person, because you're reading their struggles. You have to actively read, whereas with a film or a TV series, you just sit there and it's just like blasted into your fucking retinas, right? So there's a difference in regards to how you interpret what's going on in a film compared to a book. And I think video games are actually closer to books in that regard, because they have that immersive quality. But I think the problem with video games at the moment is how utterly, goddamn, infinitely expansive their length is. It's just absolutely ridiculous how long video games are. And I think what we need to do is start, instead of having these large, massive Bethesda type experiences, right? Because people are clearly getting sick of them. Starfield was a flop. I don't know if it was a financial flop, but it was a critical flop. I don't think anyone's excited for the new Elder Scrolls, really, are they? Like, maybe they would have been in 2017, but I don't think they are anymore. Like, it will come out and people will go, oh, it's all right, this. And then a few people might buy it, and you might play it at a friend's house and you might enjoy it for a bit, but you're not going to buy it yourself, are you? It's that kind of thing. I think video games do a really good job with developing atmosphere and story and characters. They have real potential for that, particularly something like a dialogue tree where you can develop your character in different ways, and it's all kind of mastered by the developers of the game, similar to like a choose your own adventure sort of thing. But it's like that, but times a million in terms of complexity, and that's really interesting. And two, I think a community-driven spirit is something that's really amazing that's come out of the video game world and culture as a whole. You know, multiplayer as a general thing, split screen, meeting up with your friends and playing Mario Kart, and like, you know, the one guy who wins, he's like, yes, and all that kind of stuff. That's all fun. Playing Mortal Kombat with your friend is really fun. Getting on a Call of Duty lobby is really fun. I mean, I used to do that all the time when I was in high school. And then me and my friend, we would go on to like Minecraft's multiplayer sort of survival games. It was their rip-off of the Hunger Games, and we used to just do that every single day, and we had a blast doing it, you know. And it's not that I don't see value in video games, but I just think that they're bloating too much. I think they're getting too large, and they're getting too bogged down in the graphical capabilities, right? I'm going to be completely honest with you, and this is probably going to cause a lot of dislikes on the video, but Red Dead Redemption 1, I don't really see why we needed to do anything past that, right? That looked perfect as far as I'm concerned. GTA 5, yeah, that's it. We don't need any more graphical developments, guys. We are done, okay? Draw a line in the sand, stop worrying about the fucking graphics of it, and start using the fact that we have this baseline of graphics to develop other aspects of story. Because as you know, each generation comes along, you get more data space and so on and so forth. You can use that to enrich the characters, have more dialogue trees, have more space for audio files, etc. You can make the worlds larger, or start focusing on including more NPCs and more entities and more assets in a singular space, and being able to load them all at the same time. We don't need higher quality graphics. We don't need the water fucking reflecting off the sun. We don't need any of this stuff. I don't really see the value in it, because if I'm playing a video game, right, it's the same way if I watch a movie and it's a low budget movie and there's a bit of shit CGI in it. If that takes me out of the film, then it wasn't a very good film to begin with, and I was looking for an excuse to stop bothering with it. Same way with a video game. Would you not play a PS1 game because it doesn't look as good as a PS3 game? Then that does, like, would you not play a PS3 game because it doesn't look as good as a PS5 game? I mean, what games even are there on the fucking PS5? There's Demon Souls, which that was on the PS3. There's Shikaro, the new Dark Souls thing. And there's probably a few new Call of Duties. There's probably some couple like really good games I've not heard of, but I just think that we're going in the wrong direction with it. And what I am sort of doing, I haven't really bothered with any new video game news or anything like that since about 2015, 2016 maybe. I haven't bothered, haven't cared about it, right? I feel like what I want to do is, in say the year 2040, right? Can you imagine what the technology for video games is going to be like in 2040? So I'm going to stay completely out of the loop, right, until that point, and then I'm going to get there and I'm going to just look into the new thing, and I'll get the new VR headset or the PS10 or whatever they've got by that point. Probably PS6 at this point. Actually, no, PS7. I think they're coming out of PS6 at some point soon, which to me just blows my fucking mind. I mean, the idea of PS5, I always thought was kind of a joke of the far-flung future, and now it's been out for ages. So I feel like video games should start focusing more on the story and more on small-scale things, right? Rather than trying to make these large, monetized, loot box-driven experiences. And obviously, it works for them, but I feel like if they stripped back on the graphical stuff, stopped worrying about having the highest capability graphics, because it fucks the development time. Look at Rockstar, for instance. I keep using Rockstar as an example, but in the PS2 era, they came out with GTA 3, Midnight Club 2, Midnight Club 3, 2 more GTAs, Vice City and San Andreas, loads of DLC, expanded fucking things for them. I can't remember what it's called, their version of DLC. Bully, Manhunt, I think Manhunt 2 as well. That's all on the PS3. That was, I don't even know how many I counted. They're probably like 9, right? Then the PS3, you've got GTA 4, you've got LA Noire, you've got GTA 5, you've got Midnight Club LA, you've got a couple more that I can't remember the name of. You've got Max Payne 3, you've got bloody Max Payne 1 and 2 on the PS2. But you notice how it's slipping already. There's already less games on the PS3 compared to the PS2. Now look at the PS4. Red Dead Redemption 2. Is that it? Is that fucking it? Oh, and bloody Red Dead Revolver came out on the PS2, and Red Dead Redemption came out on the PS3. So you see how it's a bigger team than it was before, and they're making less as a result because the graphical capabilities are so high, that the expectations are so high, that they need to make the most realistic, high caliber fucking thing out there. And I feel like if they stripped it all back and we just went back to PS3 graphics in the year 2025, they're fine. That's good enough. I don't think we need to get any better than that, you know? Thanks. And once we get to that point of just accepting that we can go back to the past, we'll be able to make so much more, because we'll be able to use that PS3 capability and that scale of graphics to introduce new, grander stories. We'll be able to make the worlds and the sandboxes more efficiently for the developers. Textures will be easier to figure out because we'll have new technologies to create more interesting textures and all this kind of stuff to you know, speed up the process in various forms, right? So we'll be able to get more interesting experiences rather than just getting Red Dead Redemption 2. And to be honest, I didn't give a shit about Red Dead Redemption 1. It was fucking awful. It was GTA, but without the driving, and the driving is why I like GTA. It's like the most fun part about that game. It's why I liked Midnight Club, right? So to wrap this bit of ranty video up, I feel like video games, what they should be doing going into the future is worrying less about the graphical capability. I know, very, very original thought, but they should be going away from that, and they should be moving towards smaller, less runtime to the collective experiences, because these things are like 100 hours long. I think 10 hours max. I think 10 hours max is a good length for a game. A 10-hour game can be the equivalent of like a 3-hour film, right? And maybe a 15-hour game every now and then can be like you're gone with the wind of video games, right? I think that's okay. We don't need any more 50-hour, 100-hour, 200-hour fucking video games. There's only 48 hours, there's only 24 hours in a day. I nearly said there's 48 hours in a day. That's how much it fucks with your time frame. I remember I looked at my Fallout 3 thing and it said that I've been playing it for 150 hours. And that's a week spent doing this. And to me, I don't think that's worthwhile. So I think we should be working on smaller, more interesting experiences rather than these huge, expansive piles of mediocrity. So thank you very much for watching this video. I'm not going to be talking about video games much more. I don't really care about them. So don't expect more video game content. I mean, if this video does really well, I'll probably do more video game stuff. But I'm not going to start fucking Let's Plays or anything like that. I don't give a shit. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. They're normally more positive than this. They're normally more inspirational kind of stuff like that. I tend to do, my hobby, my passion is using like these. These are quite fun. So I do that kind of thing, photography and stuff like that. So, you know, I understand that video games might be your passion, your hobby or whatever, but they're just not mine, really. So thank you very much for watching this one. Have a good rest of the day. And this thing feels like it's enveloping me, so I'm going to get out. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.